Left crosswind versus right crosswind, number one engine failure versus number two engine failure. Which one is easier to deal with? Joe Munoz, OneStepPrep.com. The answer varies. And I'm going to share with you my experience training pilots with all types of experience levels and background, how I have come to determine what it is I'm about to share with you. Depending on what your dominant side is, that likely will dictate which side you feel to be the easier case. Now, I'm going to give you an example here utilizing this 7.6 model. Let's say for the moment that we have a left crosswind, okay? Now, crosswinds, when we have a crosswind, naturally the aircraft will turn into the side of the wind, okay, into the side where the crosswind's coming from. So if it's a left crosswind, right, the aircraft, I'm expecting it to yaw to the left. The inverse would be true over here. If it's a right crosswind, it would yaw to the right. When we go to decrab in the flare with a left crosswind, I'm going to have to decrab by application of right rudder. If you are right side dominant, you write with your right hand, you eat with your right hand, it's likely that when it comes time to apply right-handed rudder inputs, you're going to find it easier and you will likely perform better naturally. It's just going to feel more natural when your dominant side is the one applying the rudder input. Now, same is true for the engine failure. We'll use this number one engine as an example. If that number one engine fails over here, number two producing thrust, the airplane naturally will yaw into the direction of the dead engine. In this case, to counter the yaw, I have to apply right rudder. So if you're a right-hand dominant person and number one engine failure is likely going to be easier or at least more natural feeling, the same way a left crosswind feels more natural because of the right rudder application. So what's the takeaway? Anytime you're applying rudder input on your dominant side, it's likely to feel more natural. At least this is certainly the observations that I've seen having thousands of hours instructing in the sim, both the 320 and the 737. Now the inverse of what I just said is true. If we happen to have a number two engine failure or a right crosswind, that would cause a left rudder input that would be needed to decrab and or align the aircraft laterally with the center line or even airborne. Left-hand dominant personnel generally are going to find that to be easier when we're talking about a number two engine or a right crosswind. So, hope that makes sense. The takeaway of the video is if you find one or the other to be more natural feeling than the other, it's probably because you're dominant on the side where you're having to apply rudder in order to align the longitudinal axis of the aircraft. All right, so with that being said, you guys know where to find us. Juan and Joe, your friends in training program success, OneStepPrep.com. I thought I would need this marker. Turns out I didn't need it. I was going to draw for you, but I had the model right next to me to be able to explain it. So we'll see you in Miami.